up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen.
Or another device if you're at home.
Get yourself comfy, this could take a while. What a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly.
Well, hello there everyone, and welcome to today's Values Assembly. We're going to kick this off in the usual way with our values. So, for each other we, every day we, to improve we, and together we will. And our everyday focuses are, and our Stukeley motto is, and our Stukeley curriculum is, and 4 words that make the magic happen. Brilliant. I hope you're not too distracted by what you might be able to see just behind me here, but the eagle eyes amongst you might be able to have spotted Easter eggs, and my office is full of them at the moment. So keep your eyes on me, ignore the Easter eggs. I'm going to move my head so that you can't see them, because today is Values Assembly. Let's just have a quick think about the things that we have talked about since Christmas. We've talked a lot about the importance of community. We have talked about Robert Burns. Do you remember that one? About Burns Night back on the 25th of January, I think that one was. We've talked about St David's Day on the 1st of March. And we talked last week about reconnecting. Do you remember that when I explained about the laptop, that it runs on battery for so long, but eventually you have to plug back into the mains? And it's a bit like that at school. We can go for so long just doing stuff at home remotely as we have done, but it's always good to come back and plug back into the mains power supply. And that's what it's like coming back to school. So I hope you had a really good first week back. It was so lovely to see everybody. And now here we are, week 2 back into school. And I don't know if you have noticed, but there seems to be some changes outside in nature. I think spring might be springing. I'd like you to pause me and have a chat as a class about some of the signs of spring that you maybe have been noticing recently in recent weeks. And while you're doing that, I've got some pictures to put up here. So you have a chat, pause me when you need to, and I will put these pictures up to give you a few ideas. Off you go. Everybody okay? Had some good ideas yet? Keep going. So, as you can see, hopefully you've all had a chance to have a little bit of a chat. I was out and about walking the dog today, and I was spotting my own signs of spring. So I've got a few photos there. Perhaps when you were thinking about signs of spring, you were thinking about it being slightly warmer, maybe a bit wetter, which it has been. Maybe you've noticed some flowers. Hopefully you can see that where you are. Might be a little bit hard to see from there, but there are some buds on the branches of this tree here. We've got some really lovely daffodils that you can't quite see. Let me just do that. There are some daffodils in this lovely picture here, and some budded, so it's forsythia, so little yellow buds coming out on this tree here. So some signs of spring that I have noticed, and I'm sure you have seen them too. Buds are on the trees, flowers coming up, grass growing. The odd bee has even been spotted buzzing about on sunny days. That's because March is the beginning of meteorological spring, the time of year when nature during winter has maybe looked dead or sleeping, but begins to wake up. And it's a really lovely time of year, which is probably why so many poets have written poems connected to spring. And I'm going to share one with you. Now, it was written a long time ago, and when poems or books have been written a long time ago, often the language is a little bit different from the kind of language that we would use. So you have to really lean in, you have to really concentrate and just begin to try and imagine what the poet is trying to communicate through their words. They're trying to paint a picture of spring. Instead of with a paintbrush as an artist would, they're doing that with words. So lean in as I share with you a really famous poem. Now I am going to read it because I haven't learnt this one off by heart. Maybe that's something we can work on. So this is a poem by William Wordsworth and it's called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. So hopefully you were able to kind of conjure up an image then of spring. It was clearly a poem about a particular place where there were lots of daffodils, and it just reminds me of this picture here, a tree near where I live that's got daffodils all around the edge of it. And I like the part where it says that they toss their heads in sprightly dance. So as they're blowing in the wind, they're moving, the flower, the head of the flower is moving about. So he says they toss their heads in sprightly dance. Sprightly means kind of energetic and vibrant dance. So there we are, there's a poem. I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, really, really famous, all about spring. Now, another reason why spring, I think, is such a fascinating time of year is it makes us think about things kind of waking up, things coming back to life and springing into new life. A lot of these plants, daffodils for one, for example, or tulips, start off as bulbs. Okay, so a bulb looks a bit like an onion, if you've ever seen one. And you plant them below the earth, usually around kind of October, November time. And then they start as a bulb, don't look like anything, and then they begin to grow and little shoots come through the earth in the springtime, and then they grow to be their full size plants. And then that got me thinking about all of you. In our school, we have our youngest, our smallest children, our reception children that are a long way from being fully grown adults yet. They are our youngest ones. And then we've got our year sixes who are growing at a really rapid rate and are way taller than me, lots of you, which I know isn't very hard because I'm not a very tall adult. And so we've got our smallest children that are a long way from being grown up, and then we've got our year sixes that are getting closer to being full grown adults. And then it made me think, I wonder what you will all become. When I planted my tulip bulbs at home, I knew that they would grow into tulips, okay? So the bulb doesn't look like anything, but on the packet, it showed me the picture of them as tulips. But the thing is with you guys is that you can all choose to become whatever you like. It's not like those bulbs, they'll only ever be a tulip bulb, but you can become whatever you like when you grow up. So when you become a full-grown adult, as when they become a full-grown plant, when you become a full-grown adult, you can choose to become whatever you like. And then it made me ask the question, I wonder what you think you would like to do or what you would like to be when you are an adult. What are your dreams for your future? What would you like to become? So I'd really like it if as a class you paused me and you had a 2-minute chat to share some of the ideas that you might have for your futures. When you are a full-grown adult, what would you like to be or what would you like to become? So pause me now and have that chat. Now, I hope, everyone, that you all learned something about each other from having that conversation about what you would like to be, what you would like to do perhaps when you are older. And then it kind of put me onto another slant. So I've got my tulip bulb, and I know it's only ever going to grow to be a tulip bulb when it's full grown because it's a plant. But you guys, you can choose to be whatever you like to be. Your whole world and your whole life is in front of you. But I wonder, even if you know what you would like to be or what you would like to do, and maybe you don't, and that's okay too, wonder what you've got to do to achieve those dreams. How are you going to make that happen? Now, our bodies will grow and will become adults through no effort of our own. That will just happen. But in terms of what we might choose to do or to be, then then we can shape that. We can make things happen. Now, plants grow in springtime. Okay, they look a bit dead sometimes during the winter, but they grow in springtime. But they need the right conditions, don't they? They need warmth, they need water, and they need sunlight. So I wonder then, what conditions might you need to grow well in order to become all that you want to be? That's a good question, isn't it? I wonder what conditions you would need. I'm pretty certain that working hard at school and being very kind, remember those 4 words, work hard, be kind. So working hard at school, being kind, which is a really important Stukeley principle, is a good starting point for all of us. If you want to be a doctor or a hairdresser or a mechanic or a scientist, all of those jobs need you to be able to work hard at school and be kind. Really, really important. Now, it is worth noting though, that some jobs might appear, so if you've got a particular job in mind, might appear really straightforward. But as you find out more about them, there's a lot more to do, and it will take far longer to achieve perhaps than you may well have imagined. That's something I've learned in life, so I thought I would just share that with you. Beware the job that looks straightforward, because sometimes there's a lot more to it than you imagined. Anyway, so let's round this assembly up as spring officially springs on March 20th. Let's enjoy the hope of new beginnings that it brings, and think about what we might want to become in terms of jobs and the kind of people that we want to be. Let's think about what we need to do and to be to make sure that that happens. And above all, everyone, work hard and be kind. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you, Mrs. Stevens, for another great values assembly that really gets us thinking. It's also got me thinking. And unfortunately for you, I'm now going to tell you a story. Oh yes, I haven't told you a Singletary story for ages. This is a good one. Listen up. Mrs. Stevens just talked in her values assembly about how sometimes when we're going to do a job, or sometimes when we're going to do something, the unexpected happens. Sometimes things don't work out how we think. Sometimes jobs are harder than what we think. Sometimes challenges come up. I'm now going to tell you about something which happened to me in my garden at the weekend. It is a true story. Listen to this. I moved into another house. I moved into a new house just before Christmas, okay? And for the first time, I've got a garden, a proper garden. In my old house, I had a very small backyard, had a bit of fake grass. Anyway, I've got real grass, I've got a lawn, I've got a garden. Very exciting. Anyway, I was out in the garden at the weekend, and I was trying to find somewhere to put this. This is a rotary dryer. Now, lots of you might have these at home, or you've seen them. You put it out to dry your clothes, okay? There's one of these. Yeah, you've seen them before? Yeah. Oh, it's all getting out of hand. Anyway, I was going to put this. I was looking for somewhere to put this in the garden, okay? Just so everybody knows, when you want to put this into the ground, you put it into a little tube. You put it into a little holder. Now, that little tube can look like... It can look like this. Okay, so you put this into the ground. You can use cement, you can just push it in or smash it in, but you put this in the ground, this little hole, and then you put the dryer into it so it stands up. Here's a short video, made a short video to show you what it looks like in the ground. So you're now going to see a video of what this tube looks like, or hang on, what this could look like in the ground. Watch this video. Okay, so that hole in the ground there, that wasn't just one of these under the ground. It was actually quite a bit bigger. It had metal, almost like metal spikes coming out the side, and you bang it into the ground. Bang! Bang! bang, really hard into the ground, and then it doesn't move around, it stays in the ground. Anyway, here's my story. At the weekend, I was looking for somewhere to put this, and I found in the garden a hole in the ground that the person who lived in the house before me had put in. So that the man who lived here last year, he'd put a metal holder into the ground. Here's a picture of what the end of it looked like. Now, that end, that was only about 2-3 centimetres wide, so it was quite a small hole like that. Anyway, at the weekend I realised that that metal hole wasn't big enough for this, so I had to dig that metal holder out of the ground. I thought it was going to look like this in the ground. I thought I was going to have to dig something like that out, maybe with some spikes, maybe with some other bits. In the end, I was using a little spade, a trowel. That wouldn't get it out of the ground. It was metal and it wasn't getting out of the ground. Went to Home Bargains to buy a spade. I still haven't got a lot of that stuff yet. Went to buy a spade, they'd sold out. Had to borrow a spade off my friend Jules. Borrowed a spade. I'm now going to show you what I ended up digging out of the ground. Now this was put in the ground just to hold that up. I kid you not. It's iron, it's really heavy. This whole thing, this whole metal thing, there's the hole, look. This whole thing had been put into the ground and covered over with mud just to hold that pole. I cannot tell you how heavy this is. It took me about 2.5 hours to get it out of the ground. It's like oh, and it's just dripped water on me. Gross! Okay. Why have I told you that story? First of all, because I was quite proud at the end. After a couple of hours of digging it out of the ground, I felt great. Also, I thought it was going to be an easy job. I thought it was just going to be digging around it a little bit, pulling something out of the ground. In the end, that whole thing was buried under the ground. And I had no idea. Had to keep going, just like in Mrs. Stevens' assembly. Had to keep focused, keep confident. Let's do some shout outs. I know that story went on a bit, but you tried digging something out of the ground that you think's quite small, ends up absolutely massive. Great moment. Right, no birthdays today, we've got one tomorrow, but big shout out to Abhishek in year 5. He's now read 3 million words and he's going up, 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 up. 3 million, that's incredible. He's reading some big books as well. Don't forget, I'll be coming around this week to check on your quizzing and on your Numbots and Rockstars. Thank you to everyone that's brought back their raffle envelope. You've still got a week or so to bring them. We'll be bringing around mini chocolate eggs, not actual mini eggs, just small chocolate eggs for everyone that's bought tickets. They need to go to your teachers and we'll get them put into the prize draw. Oakleaf Bookshop opens next week. We're not doing anything this week because we're getting Eastered up. Oh, Mrs. Page, you know, she does those wonderful creative videos. Yeah, she can only do them if people take part. I know we're back to school. I know we're incredibly busy. All of us are. Teachers, TAs, office team, Mrs. Cooper, families, children, we're all busy. Please try and take 6-7 minutes to have a go at this week's creative challenge. Here's a reminder. Yes, make our values words in any way you can. When you did this before with the word love, I think it was, they were excellent. Get the values words done, get them sent into Mrs. Page, get them tweeted in. I'm going to finish with a massive shout out to Miss Cleary. Now, Miss Cleary is the mum of Thomas in year 3 and Emily in year 1. Miss Cleary is a champion. She has literally just won the Stukeley Prediction League last person standing! Well done, Miss Cleary. That is a great performance. If you don't know what that's all about, any adult, any child in the school had to tell Mrs. Wing each week which team would win a football match in the Premier League. So you might have said Man City will win this week, or Liverpool will win next week, or Brighton will win this week. They had to pick a different team each week, and if the team didn't win, you were out. Loads of people went out after the first round. Loads of people went out in the second round. Miss Cleary went all the way through to the end. She said that Leicester were going to win at the weekend, and they won 5-0. So she's the winner. Miss Cleary's going to get a £25 Amazon voucher. Yes, she is. £25 Amazon voucher. And the family will get some Oakleaf book vouchers to celebrate their mum being fantastic. I've asked Mrs. Wing if we can do another prediction league or something like that before the end of the season, and she said maybe. I think it's going to happen. Okay, that's it for shout outs. Now let's go straight into most important 60 seconds.
The most important 60 seconds are coming up now. The most important 60 seconds are coming up now.
Read, write, quiz, spell, calculate. I'll say that again. Read, write, quiz, spell, calculate. One more time. Read, write, quiz, spell, calculate. One more time for luck. Join in with me. Read, write, quiz, spell, calculate. Those are our 5 home learning words. Every week you should be reading, writing sentences in your learning log. If you're on AR, quizzing, and if you're not on AR, your family might be asking you questions about your story. Spelling, your words that your teachers have given you, or your phonics, your phonemes that your teachers have given you. And calculate, everybody should be on Numbots or Rockstars. If you do all of that, and you keep up the routine, it should not take you very long, hopefully, throughout the week if you stretch it out, and it will help you get better and better with your learning. Remember those 5 words, one more time. Read, write, quiz, spell, calculate. Remember them, because they're coming at you very soon.